Neurologists use a test called the clock drawing test to screen for cognitive decline. It takes 30 seconds. But there is a more sensitive test you can do at home in your own kitchen. It takes 3 minutes. It uses items you already have, and it tests 4 brain functions at once: planning, sequencing, working memory, and motor execution, in a way that no pen and paper test can match. A 2021 study from Baycrest Center in Toronto found that performance on everyday kitchen tasks detected cognitive decline up to 2 years before standard screening tools caught it. Your kitchen is a neurological testing lab. You just did not know it. I'm Dr. Harlan Whitaker, 38 years in neurology. I don't sell supplements. I don't run a clinic anymore. I'm here because someone should tell you what your doctor doesn't have time to. You walk into your kitchen to make a cup of tea. You fill the kettle. You set it on the stove. You open the cabinet for a mug. You reach for a tea bag. You get the sugar out. You pour the water when it boils. You add milk. You carry it to the table. This task seems simple. But from a neurological perspective, making a cup of tea is one of the most complex activities your brain performs in a day. You had to plan the steps in the right order. You had to remember what you were doing while doing it. You had to coordinate your hands, your vision, and your balance. You had to switch between subtasks without losing your place. When this process works smoothly, you do not even notice it. When it starts to fail, the failures look like small things: forgetting the sugar, pouring water before the kettle boils, opening the refrigerator and forgetting what you needed from it. But these small failures are the earliest signals. Most people and most doctors test memory with word recall tests. Remember these 3 words: apple, table, penny. 5 minutes later, repeat them. That test has been the gold standard for decades, but it only measures one thing: short-term verbal recall. Alzheimer's disease does not start with forgetting words. It starts with losing the ability to organize complex sequences: planning dinner, following a recipe, managing medications, paying bills in the right order. These are called instrumental activities of daily living. They require a brain network called executive function. And executive function declines in Alzheimer's up to 5 years before memory loss becomes obvious. Here is why the kitchen test works. Your prefrontal cortex is the CEO of your brain. It handles planning, sequencing, and multitasking. Your hippocampus handles remembering what you are doing while you are doing it, the working memory that keeps track of which step comes next. Your motor cortex handles the physical execution: pouring, stirring, carrying. Your parietal lobes handle spatial awareness, knowing where things are in your kitchen. Making a cup of tea requires all 4 systems to work together seamlessly. A pen and paper screening test only tests 1 or 2 of these systems. The kitchen test engages all of them in a real-world context. That is why it catches decline earlier. Before we go further, I need you to hear this. If you have any of the following, stop and call your doctor before changing anything I described today: kidney disease of any stage, liver disease or cirrhosis, diabetes treated with insulin. You take blood thinners like Eliquis or warfarin. You take a diuretic. You take a proton pump inhibitor like omeprazole. You have uncontrolled high blood pressure. This video is education. It is not personal medical advice. Nothing replaces a doctor who knows your chart. Now, with that said, here is what the research shows. I want to tell you about Arthur. Arthur was 75 years old, retired electrical engineer from Sacramento, California. Arthur's wife noticed something subtle. Arthur had always cooked breakfast on Saturday mornings: scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice. He had been doing it for 40 years. Then, one Saturday, the toast burned. The next Saturday, he forgot the juice. The Saturday after that, he cracked the eggs into the pan before turning on the burner. Small things. His wife mentioned it at Arthur's annual checkup. The doctor gave Arthur the standard screening: 3 words, the date, count backwards from 100 by 7. Arthur scored perfectly. The doctor said he was fine. But Arthur's wife knew something was off. She brought Arthur to me. I asked Arthur to make a cup of tea in our clinic kitchen. He filled the kettle. He set it on the counter instead of the stove. He opened the cabinet and looked at the mugs for 8 seconds before picking one. He put the tea bag in the mug, then removed it and put it on the counter, then put it back. He forgot the sugar entirely. He scored normally on every standard screening, but the kitchen task showed disorganized sequencing and task-switching errors. We ordered a PET scan. It showed early amyloid buildup in Arthur's frontal and temporal lobes, the beginning of Alzheimer's disease, 2 years before any word recall test would have caught it. Here is the kitchen test you can do today. You will need a timer, a pen, and paper. The task is to make a cup of tea or coffee from scratch. Have someone observe you, or record yourself on your phone. Start the timer when you begin. The observer watches for 5 specific things. First, do you complete all the steps in a logical order? Filling the kettle before boiling, getting the cup before pouring. If you skip a step and have to go back, mark it. Second, do you pause for more than 5 seconds at any point, looking confused about what comes next? Brief pauses to think are normal. Staring at an object for 8 to 10 seconds as if you forgot what it is for, that is a flag. Third, do you repeat any step? Putting a tea bag in, taking it out, putting it back in, or opening the sugar, closing it, then opening it again as if you forgot you already did that. Fourth, do you complete the task in under 3 minutes? The average healthy 70-year-old completes this in 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Over 3 minutes suggests slowing. Over 5 minutes is a red flag. Fifth, do you forget any component entirely? No sugar when you always take sugar. No milk when you always add milk. Missing a habitual step is different from choosing to skip it. Here is your second test, the dual task challenge. While making the tea, have someone ask you a simple question. What did you have for dinner last night? Or, what is your grandson's birthday? Can you answer the question and continue making the tea without losing your place? Healthy brains can handle 2 things at once. When executive function declines, adding a second task causes the first one to fall apart. If the question makes you stop the tea task entirely, or you lose your place after answering, That is worth noting. Things that mimic cognitive decline in the kitchen, but are not Alzheimer. First, medication side effects. Anticholinergic drugs, benzodiazepines, and even some blood pressure medications cause confusion and slowed processing. Second, depression. Depression in seniors often looks like cognitive decline, slowed thinking, poor concentration, and disorganized behavior. Third, vitamin B12 deficiency. B12 below 300 causes cognitive symptoms that look exactly like early dementia. Fourth, sleep deprivation. A bad night of sleep can make a healthy brain perform like a brain with mild cognitive impairment. If you do the kitchen test after a bad night, repeat it after a good night before drawing conclusions. Here is what keeps your executive function sharp. First, cooking new recipes. Following a recipe you have never made forces your brain to plan, sequence, and adapt. Doing the same recipe you have made 500 times is automatic and does not challenge your brain. Try one new recipe per week. Second, playing strategy games. Card games like bridge, board games like chess, even jigsaw puzzles engage the planning and sequencing networks. Third, managing a real project, organizing a closet, planning a trip, or doing your own taxes requires the same executive function networks that the kitchen test measures. Fourth, dual task training. Walk while having a conversation. Listen to an audiobook while folding laundry. Practice doing two things at once, safely, to keep that network strong. This is the Whitaker Kitchen Protocol. Step 1. Do the kitchen test once a month, same task each time. Have someone observe or record you. Track the time and note any errors. A stable performance over 6 months is reassuring. A noticeable decline in either time or accuracy means you should see your doctor. Step 2. Cook one new recipe per week, not a complex one. A simple recipe with 5 to 8 steps that you have never made before. This challenges every executive function network in your brain. Step 3. Practice dual tasking once a day. Talk on the phone while putting away groceries. Do mental math while making coffee. Train your brain to handle 2 streams at once. Arthur started treatment early because the kitchen test caught what the standard screening missed. His neurologist started him on a medication to slow progression. His wife restructured their Saturday breakfasts so that Arthur still cooks, but she subtly supports the sequencing. Arthur is still cooking 18 months later. His wife says the kitchen test gave them time. Not a cure, time. And time is the most valuable thing in Alzheimer's disease. Write your age below and tell me, how fast can you make a cup of tea without any errors? I read every comment. Here are your 5 takeaways. 1. Kitchen tasks test 4 brain functions that pen and paper tests miss. 2. Disorganized sequencing in daily tasks is an earlier warning than word forgetting. 3. Do the kitchen test monthly and track your time and errors. 4. Cooking new recipes is the best executive function exercise. 5. If the kitchen test declines, see a neurologist, even if you pass standard screening. Not every forgotten word is Alzheimer. Not every slow moment means decline. Your brain is more resilient than the internet wants you to believe. I don't sell supplements. I don't run a memory clinic. I profit from you not needing me. Protect what you have. I'll see you in the next one.